We move on to some other stories, starting from the labor front. Now, workers on the FPSO are to lay down their tools tomorrow, actually today, which is November 18, in solidarity with their 27 colleagues who have been dismissed by management of MODEC. Employees of the Tema Oil Refinery and its allied agencies are also expected to join the strike today. General Secretary of the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers, Hussein Idrisu, was addressing a news conference in Accra over the issue.
Workers on the FPSO have been raising concerns about salary discrepancies to their management. The management convened a meeting to resolve the problem after 3 successive meetings had been unsuccessful. Both the management of MODEC, TUC and the leadership of the mother union, the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union, signed a memorandum of understanding to ensure the management of MODEC reviewed upwards the salaries of the employees and to furnish the TUC with a new agreement. However, the TUC and the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union have expressed utmost surprise over the dismissal of 27 employees by the management of MODEC. According to the TUC, it directed their colleagues to be reinstated, but management did not heed to their call. It has declared Tuesday, November 18, to lay down their tools in solidarity with their colleague workers.
Tomorrow, among the strike, those who will do the strike is Tema Oil Refinery. The petroleum tanker drivers union is also doing the work. We have bulk oil storage and transport. That is done. We want to announce that WAPO, West African Gas Pipeline.
The union is also asking management of MODEC to reinstate their colleagues immediately.
Our issue is that the guys must get back to work. So if they don't by tomorrow, automatically, like we told you in the press statement, we are going to take industrial action.
Deputy Secretary General of TUC, Dr. Yao Ba, promised to fight until these issues are resolved.
If MODEC doesn't want trouble, if the Minister of Energy doesn't want trouble, if the Minister of Employment doesn't want trouble, they should reinstate all the 27 guys. And then everything will end. If that doesn't happen, we will fight and fight and fight.
This is still Midday Live on TV3. We move on to some other stories, but staying with the fact that a number of agencies or institutions have decided to join a strike where they have believed that a number of their colleagues have been wrongly dismissed and that is in solidarity with them as they have been dismissed. And we're joined in studio by Sylvester Fish. He's a marine engineer and also a consultant. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we would want to first start off with the issues that led to the current strike, where we now have other people joining in for a general demonstration of a sort against labor issues on the FPSO and other, petroleum in the petroleum industry for that matter. What is your take on it, and how do you think this can be resolved immediately?
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, you need to understand that the oil and gas industry has to do with installations, what we call rigs. MODEC is just an FPSO. I'm based on a 6th generation semi-submersible rig, which actually floats, it can move. There are different kinds of positions offshore, and there are different kinds of nationalities. Depending on where you're drilling, whether you're drilling within the West Africa sub-region, or you're drilling within Europe, or you're drilling within the North Sea, which is in Scotland, or you're drilling within Canada or the South China Sea, there are international rates that these drilling contractors pay, you understand? And sometimes you may have someone's return ticket, someone coming from Aberdeen to, let's say, to Jubilee Field. His return ticket would even be more than someone who is occupying a rustabout position, you understand? Because there are different levels of chain of command. So therefore, you must remember that we are exposed to all kinds of risk. You have to fly in a zero visibility helicopter many nautical miles into the sea. Basically, you have lost time incidents and fatalities. So I know for a fact, because I was on the Jubilee Field for 2 years before my company moved, because Talo didn't renew the contract. And I have actually seen what goes on over there. There are all kinds of sentimental thing. Sometimes you may have people, you can have in quotes certain kinds of favoritisms that are shown to certain nationalities. Therefore, as a Ghanaian and also as someone who have actually worked outside the country, it is important for the TUC, the Petroleum Commission, the Ministry of Energy, to actually legally bind these oil drilling contractors to not take certain decisions just like that, because one, they are drilling within our territorial waters, and the Ghanaians, as far as local content is concerned, are supposed to be paid the Africa region salaries. We have also certain third-party oil field service providers who would employ this local content, you understand, and sometimes they may also take a certain percentage. But once these Ghanaians are paid their original Africa region salaries, I don't think they would actually be revolted.
Are you saying right now that they are not being paid those rates, the African region rates?
That is more or less the issue, because once, I'll give you a typical example. Okay, now we have the lowest ranking position offshore is called a rustabout. A rustabout actually will be on the deck. The highest is what we call the rig manager. But you, from a rustabout, you go to a deck pusher, what do you call it? A crane operator. From a crane operator, you go to a deck pusher. From a deck pusher, you go to a chief mate, you go to a captain. Then you have the subsea engineers. Then you have the tool pushers. You have the OIMs. You have the mud pump operators. So you see, there is a chain of command, exactly. But I'm telling you that even the least job description, which is a rustabout, the guy may be earning, let's say, in Ghana City, let's say 8,000 Ghana Cedis. But I am telling you for a fact, 8,000 Ghana Cedi is nothing.
Because of the risk involved.
Because of the risk involved, and also because of the original Africa region salary that they're supposed to
What
pay.
is the African region rate?
Okay. Internationally speaking, a rustabout should be earning more or less, if I should use the US dollar rate, about $3,000. That's even the lowest, you understand?
For the African region.
For the Africa region, you
Okay.
understand? And when you move into the North Sea, maybe a Scottish guy who's working in the North Sea may be earning, like, let's say, £5,000 for a rustabout.
Is it your position also that state institutions, maybe the Petroleum Commission, the Energy Ministry, have not put down these regulations for the bodies that are going to work under or on Ghana's waters to follow? That there are no regulations for them to follow? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm trying to say is that these oil drilling contractors, for instance, on the semi-submersible rig, these oil drilling contractors do not really employ the rustabouts directly. They employ them through oil service providers like Menergy and then Rigweld. And they know, because they are here in Ghana, they are certified. Now, because they also want to reduce cost. The oil drilling contractors want to reduce cost. So these third-party service providers will also, of course, they have a formal legal contract with these drilling contractors. So they will take their part, and then before your disposable income comes to you, it has gone through so many levels.
Reduction.
So when you see, let's say, a paint supervisor, somebody will just fly from Scotland who is a paint supervisor. We have paint supervisors here. We have scaffolders here. You understand? So this is the whole issue. So if I'm a rustabout and I'm earning, let's say, in Ghana Cedi, 8,000 Ghana Cedi, I am telling you 8,000 Ghana Cedi is
But isn't
nothing.
that the agreement before the person or the individual was employed? I think there was an agreement, per what you're saying. There was an agreement between the recruitment agency and then the final authority that employs you. Now, what happens to that agreement that the individual has with the recruitment agency, and then the agreement between the recruitment agency and the final employer?
Okay, now, you see, if you finish with your normal BOSIET, I mean, BOSIET is the basic offshore safety induction register training. These are licenses you need, and then offshore medicals. The first thing is that you just want to work offshore. So you don't really have much say. You just go to the agency, and the agency will say, okay, we have the relationship with this drilling contractor.
Right.
Now, as far as you're concerned, you're coming in as a rustabout. Depending on your skill set and your level of competence, okay, you're coming as a rustabout. This is what we're going to pay you. Let's say 7,500 Ghana cedis for 28 days. We call it 28 days by 28 days rotation. So you can't say it because that's the first time you're going to work.
So you agree to it?
You agree to it. But I'm telling you that if these oil drilling contractors are paying the original Africa rate, it will be much more higher than what they are currently earning. So
it means then that the anger of the workers now is misdirected, isn't it? Because then there is a third party that is being overlooked. This anger is going to affect, or this strike is going to affect the entire country, the services that we are supposed to get from them. Now, are they also involving these third-party agencies, and what is their position on it?
You see, the third-party agencies, what I call the manager and others, they are also into business, okay? I mean, they have to make sure they have a good relationship with these oil drilling contractors. But I want to say now is that the real power lies in the TUC and lies in the Petroleum Commission, because I'm telling you for a fact, I have seen certain realities offshore, okay? For all these to be avoided, these drilling contractors need to be legally binded. Not necessarily having a contract with the third party of going offshore, but now the government itself has to be like a mother to these local content, to supervise these drilling contractors not to take certain decisions, you understand? Because first and foremost, they are drilling within our country, and second of all, we have every right to be there. And this is what I've always been saying on most of the media.
But we are told that TUC has agreed or is in support of the current demonstration. And if they are as a mother company or the mother body of trade union workers, have you asked them to put this issue across to government, and what has the response
That is
been?
what they are supposed to do, because you see, if you work offshore, you really understand so many things. You see, for one, when you're drilling offshore and you're using local content, I've always been saying that local content is not just about local content, it's about what kind of position they are occupying offshore. If you have a rustabout who is drilling, I know people who are 65 years old and they are still rustabouts. And you see somebody who is 25 years old and he's a tool pusher. It's the skill set. So it's not, government needs to understand, it's not just about local content. It has to do with making sure that, okay, you tell this guy, within 2 years, move him from, or train him, because we have something we call OJT, on the job training. Train him from a rustabout to a deck pusher. And then, of course, that actually flips his salary. From a deck pusher, you take him to a chief mate. And then from a chief mate, you take him to a captain. Then you can understand how the whole technology and the fleet works. But if you don't legally bind them, trust me, they will not train.
Okay. Right. We will be wrapping it up here. But as we speak now, what is the next line of action? Just supporting or, solidarizing with them in their strike? What do you intend to achieve? What's the next line of action?
The next line of action is that TUC, of course, has given ultimatum to MODEC, and these guys have to be reinstated. After they are reinstated, they need to discuss salary issues, because we are all faced with fatalities. Okay, the potential for fatality is high, and there is no difference. So it is important that they are paid the Africa region salary. It is important.
Very important. All right.